Well, a very good evening to you all and a very warm welcome to the Alliance Sim Racing Gard St. Cobain Supercar Championship Round 8 this evening, and we interrupt your regularly scheduled Australian circuit racing program here at Alliance Sim Racing to bring you the second and final international round of the season at Detroit Belle Isle. We have found ourselves back over in the United States. We kicked the season off in Mexico, and since then we've been in the sunny land down under, but we've found our way back to America, and we will go racing tonight for two races, a 13-lap and a 30-lap race to complete what is the, as I said, the second and final international round of the season. My name, of course, is Isaac Fogg. It's a pleasure to have your company across Australia, New Zealand, and indeed around the world, wherever you are watching from. It's wonderful to have you all with us. And in the booth with me this evening is a new name to ASR and to Simple Racing Broadcasts. You might have seen him around in YouTube doing some commentary here and there. It is, of course, Tom Sell. Tom, a very good evening to you, mate. A pleasure to have you in the booth for what is an absolutely fantastic series.
Thank you very much, Isaac. Happy to be here and happy to be looking at supercars around tracks that I don't know if we'd expect them to be at, but a very tricky one indeed. And yeah, a great show tonight, hopefully for all the fans and all the viewers to enjoy.
Absolutely. It was a fantastic show last week, and if you haven't seen that already, make sure after tonight you go and check that out. A brilliant final stint between Jason Bentz and Brian Borg just really put a marker on what was a difficult race at Sandown, but we go racing tonight at Detroit Belle Isle. We'll have a look here as my graphics play silly buggers with me, but we get the championship standings up, and it's Will Buchanan well out in front. I do not see him being caught with only 3 rounds to go, including this one tonight. An 150-point lead is really unattainable at this point, you would think, for Jason Bentz. Mark Poynton won't feature this evening. He's away for work. So he was not too far away from Benson. That'll be a great kicker for Jason to try and get some more points this evening. Troy Stone Street sits in 4th from Stephen Varga, Brian Borg, Ricky Hyde, Brett Horsell, and Tony Chapman, who I believe also will not be featuring this evening. Trav Daly leads the Cup Trophy Championship. Abel Verban sits in 11th, and Darryl Callahan second in class and some 64 points behind Trav Daly. So he has a bit of work to do if he wants to challenge for that trophy class championship before the season is over. Andrew Hoffman sits 3rd in class, Brad Hayes, Nick Geary, Josh Harris, and then Tommy DeWitt, Chad Vigard, Troy Sipple, and Chris Burridge rounding out your top 20. It's getting close in some aspects of the championship, but it does seem like Will Buchanan is running away from it. Let's have a look at where exactly we are this evening and join on board with Simon Haynes to go for a run around this fantastic circuit. He has provided each and every week a great replay for us. You can see now running down towards turn 1, a nice little left-right sequence to set us up onto Central Avenue on the run down towards turn 3. A bit of speed carried through these first couple of corners, and then we're going to get heavy onto the brakes as we run under the Penske Bridge, get to about the 150-metre mark, heavy on the brakes, down to 3rd gear, pull the car up, turn it in at just around 95 k's an hour at the apex. Then to turn 4, another right-hander in 3rd gear. A short, sharp run to turn 5, and we turn back to the left. And this is a bit of a sharper turn, still leaving in 3rd gear, dropping the speed right down. So no major changes through this section. It's actually a nice little flow as we run through 6, and now onto Strand Drive. And this is technically a straight. There's a few bends in it, left and right. Just adjust the car. Look at the concrete walls surrounding the drivers. Up to 6th gear, 240 k's an hour before we're back on the brakes, down through the gears to turn it in for turn 7. And then we go around here. This is a very tricky part of the circuit as well. And you can find yourself in the wall very easily if you're side by side through in 3rd gear, 9 into 10. And then they'll switch back very quickly to the right-hand side, drop it to 2nd gear for the first time in the lap, slow it down to just under 90 k's an hour. And that will bring us to the back end, through turn 12 along Strand Drive, through 13 out onto Sunset Drive for the penultimate corner. You can see the pit entry just off to the right-hand side there, and that's where our drivers will have to go this evening. And then before you know it, that is a lap of Detroit with Simon Haynes and the Soul Guard St. Gobain Mustang, and a fantastic job he does, as always, in providing those for us. And we thank Simon Haynes indeed. But look, it's a fairly challenging circuit. You can see there the onboard lap from Simon, Tom. It is going to be a tough slog, and those concrete walls are going to be very unforgiving.
Exactly, and with 43 laps between both of the races tonight, the wheel work in these cars is going to be absolutely unmatched towards basically anywhere that we're going to go on the calendar. I think the only one maybe nearly as challenging would be Bathurst, and that's got a whole heap more bumps than what this place has, but still going to be a big challenge for our drivers to get through all of the laps tonight.
Certainly will be, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they do get on. We're not too far away from qualifying getting done. Just a couple more minutes, and then we will be getting stuck into these first 13 laps of racing. About a minute and a half is a lap time around here, so a fair while, especially that 30-lap race. We'll expect about 45 to 50 minutes in the car. A safety car, a high potential at this circuit, you'd have to agree, considering how close these concrete walls and barriers are to catch the drivers out. A 60% fuel limit, 2 compulsory pit stops in race number 2, and how you use those has become a bit of a challenge for our drivers throughout this season. I'll be interested to see what does happen. No pit stops required in race number 1, which means that it'll be an all-out sprint for those 13 laps. Look, Tom, it's your first time commentating these guys. You have done a little bit of research in the background. Is there any drivers that have caught your eye, someone that you're looking out for tonight and their performance they're going to put in?
Honestly, not too sure. I'm more interested in that Champions Cup trophy for the further back in the pack, as that's a lot closer battle than what it is at the front of the championship. However, I think Troy Stonestreet is probably one guy that I will have my eye on. He did finish top 5 in the last time out at Sandown, had a pretty good effort there, and I reckon that he's probably one to watch, as it looks like he's currently sitting P3 on the grid, but I think that he's one to watch in the race, and we'll see how he goes throughout those 2 races tonight as well.
Yeah, well, very keen indeed. Not as many cars as I expected out there this evening, only 18. We are missing Jason Bentz, I've noticed from my timing as well. Will Buchanan is, I know he is there in second place. I found him, he was hiding from me, so we'll see that when the timings come through. I'm looking up and down at trying to figure out who's who in the zoo. Good day to everybody watching in the chat. Simon Haynes says, he hope I bought a chair this week. I did, Simon, but whether I use it or not, that remains to be seen. They the old Speedway saying you'll pay for the whole seat, you only need the edge. That was very much the case last week. I had to stand up in the end to call that race home, but hopefully, well, I would love to very much do the same this week. It means it's exciting, doesn't it? And there's always fantastic racing out there. So very much currently in a chair, but whether that stays that way, we'll wait and see. Qualifying has just completed, so we won't be too far away from getting a grid here for you folks. We'll just wait for it to tick over and officially hand out those grid results, and here we go. We now have the grid ready for you. We'll bring it up on your screen momentarily, and it is Will Buchanan, the championship leader, that lines up on pole, half a second clear, almost 4/10 ahead of Jason Bentz, who shares the front row. Troy Stonestreet and Paul Burns on row number 2. Jace Douglas, a great qualifying as well. Stephen Varga sharing row number 3 with him. Abel Verban and Nick Geary on row 4, then Alistair Bales and Trav Daly rounding out your top 10 for this one. Looking a little further afield. Button will work, there we go. Troy Sipple, Brad Hayes 11th and 12th. Darryl Callahan and Scotty Perrins on row 7. Josh Harris and Tommy DeWitt on row 8. And then it's Brett Horsell and Ash Hall, the last of the cars out on the grid this evening, only 18. Tim Nicol and James Hardy in race control. As always, it's great that they give up their time, and fantastic that they are in and helping us out this evening. We're not too far away from a race start. The cars currently getting out onto the grid. We'll be down there in just a minute to have a look at how they are shaping up as we get ready to go racing in this first race. 13 laps heading your way very, very shortly, and I am much looking forward to how this unfolds. You can see there Paul Burns and Troy Stonestreet, the teammates for 801 Sim Racing, on row number 2. How if you were in the driver's seat at the moment, Tom, how are you looking to convert off the line here? Obviously a short run to turn 1, and it's a very narrow circuit. You don't want to really be caught side by side. So where would you rather be here? Would you rather be Will Buchanan on the outside or Jason Bentz on the inside?
I would much rather be Jason Bentz on that inside line right now. I think that if you can hold it side by side to the first 2 corners, you've got a really good shot of keeping it down the inside for turn 3 and getting that all-important track position, especially at a place like this where it is very narrow indeed, and overtaking is going to be at a premium, so not a lot of chance to get past your opponents. So I would much rather be down on that inside into turn 1, and will then be turn 3, so the right-hand side of the track is where you would want to be, I think, from the driver's seat.
Yeah, turn 3 especially, you want to be on that inside line. Very heavy braking zone. Turns 1 and 2, there won't be too much braking going on, except for drivers just trying to stay out of the way and stay out of trouble. You can see there all the drivers gridding up, and Will Buchanan has jumped on to the grid. Now Jason Bentz also just jumping on and getting ready to go. We're waiting on a couple more drivers, but I think everyone is out there, so we shouldn't be too far away from getting that green flag and getting the race underway. We're waiting for the start lights to come up now as everybody gets set to go for race number 1. 13 laps around Detroit. What will happen in this opening race? How chaotic will it get? Race number 2 is where we see all the chaos usually here at ASR, but in Detroit anything can happen, that is for sure. So keep a close eye on these guys once we do get going. The 3-minute mark has ticked over, and I believe the green flag will be shown by race control momentarily. We await starters' orders. And there we go. The lights have come up. The revs come up. Racing is not too far away. The cars are alive in Detroit. The lights are out and we launch. Everyone held there for just a minute as they decided whether they wanted to get away or not, but it was a brilliant conversion and around, a massive cash for Dale Callahan. The 137 car has gone around early and that is a huge hit for the 137. He'll have to get rolling. Troy Sipple was involved in that as well in down places. A brilliant conversion off the line for Will Buchanan. Jason Betts, Troy Stone Street also a part of this. And see in the background, Stephen Varga getting the elbows out, and there's a couple cars side by side in that back portion of the track. Scotty Perrins also losing a couple positions. Everybody's jostling for place. Callahan is rolling, so is Brett Horsell, who was caught up in that. Troy Sipple also still rolling. And that was a massive, massive incident off the line and almost spun directly into our camera, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looked like Scott Perrins down at turn 3 has just gone into the wall as well. So Troy Sipple, Callahan and Brett Horsell all involved in that start incident. It went 3 wide for a minute back in the pack, and I wonder if they've all just converged on each other and taken a bit of a hit. And it looked like, yeah, put all 3 of them into the wall and seemingly in the back of the pack for this one. And Scott Perrins, unrelated, just went deep into turn 3, I think, and has just nosed himself into the tyre barrier on the exit. But it looks like they're all single file now as they head into the final couple of corners. And again, Buchanan converting that pole to a nearly one second lead over Jason Bentz already as they head down the main straight now and the end of the first lap.
Yeah, it's a brilliant conversion for Will Buchanan. We said we wanted to be Jason Bentz with that inside line, but Will Buchanan really just has absolutely nailed that conversion, hasn't he? And we'll see if we can get a replay of exactly what happened off the start there and unpack that incident for poor Daryl Callahan. Here he is. Watch him off the start. Wait for the lights to go out, and it does convert. And I actually think that is in slow motion. We don't want to watch it in slow motion, so we'll get that into fast pace and bring that back to you in just a moment. I was wondering why it was taking so long, but that is indeed why. This is Troy Stone Street trying to put the pressure on Jason Bentz. Here we go. What happened to Daryl Callahan at full speed? Launches off the line. Actually got bogged down because Sipple didn't get a clean start, and then was side by side, got squeezed by what looked like one of his own M1 Racing teammates as well. And unfortunately, Brett Horsell, with nowhere to go. And that was a fair bit of damage on the front end of that car for Daryl Callahan. Scotty Perrins with a slowdown. Have a look what happened to him as well, because he said he went in the wall at turn 3, which is the last place you want to go. Here we go. Running down towards 3. You can see Josh Harris just in the foreground pulling across. Tries to get the car stopped, locks the inside front. Massive contact with the middle of the apex, and I call that one the Ryan Palmer after Ryan did that at Adelaide a couple of seasons ago. Just sort of got it all wrong, locked the inside front and went straight into the middle of the outside wall. So Scotty Perrins doing his best Ryan Palmer impression there. A nice little tribute to the man. But unfortunate for Scotty, he'll keep going though. It doesn't look like he's been into the lane, so there might actually be no front bar on that car based on the impact. There you go. No front bar on a Gen 3 supercar. Not ideal for aerodynamics, Tom.
Yeah, don't really need any aero, do you, at this point of the race? I think if you're that far back, you're more worrying about getting the car across the line on that 13th and final lap at this point and just salvaging whatever points you can. But I think, yeah, that's probably all she wrote for this race. He'll look to bounce back in race 2 after the 13 laps here. And it looks like further up in the pack, we've got a couple of battles just starting to emerge. This is Nick Geary with Stephen Varga trailing just behind the head through this flowing turns 4, 5 and turn 6 onto the back straight, or back curved, I guess we could say it is, through here up to turn 7.
Yep, it is incident between cars 17 and 173, so that's well, it should be 137, I believe. So that's Troy Sipple and Daryl Callahan. No further action. So the stewards are saying that is play on. And it's an unfortunate accident, a racing incident, if you will. This is Nick Geary sitting third in class at the moment. Chase Douglas is currently leading that Cup Trophy class up in 4th place, so a great start for him to move up 1 place. Paul Burns, not the best start, has lost 2 positions from the lead of that Cup Trophy class that he had in qualifying, the brilliant qualifying result he had. And this man is feeling the pressure from Stephen Varga at the moment. Josh Harris has moved up 5 places into 10th. He is the biggest mover so far in this race and is not too far behind Trav Daly, who's about a second behind this group. Meanwhile, out in front, Will Buchanan 2.3 seconds already. He has disappeared up the road, said goodbye, thank you very much. I will check out from here, gents.
He's still got another race to go though, so he's got to keep his head a little bit in check. This race though, he might want to ease off a little bit and just keep that gap at a consistent 2.5 seconds. But yeah, race 2, anything can happen. Strategy calls all over the place and a fresh grid. So you've got everyone bunched up together once again. So he's not got that comfortable buffer that he does have now. And it looks like back further in the pack, I think that is Scott Perrins just giving way to, I believe, Daryl Callahan. Both of those trashed up cars, it looks like, a bit worse for wear through the midst of race 1 here.
Yeah, it's, he's just caught up and he's pushing on. That right-hand front does not look very good. It looks a bit second-hand, and as does the whole front end of Scott Perrin's car as well. Very, very second-hand. Not ideal at all, but we move on. Nick Geary, Trav Daly, the teammates caught up in a... Well, not the teammates, sorry, but classmates caught up in a bit of a battle here for 8th and 9th place. Bugger's just found his way past Geary. Actually, he's been working hard at that for a little while, so that move finally gets done. And we'll go back and have a look at that replay to show you exactly how he got that. We didn't catch it on the camera. So here is Stephen Buggy. You can see setting himself up for an on, looks to the outside, and then the heavy braking zone at the back end of that back straight into turn 8. Nice move under brakes to pull that car up and just get it stopped nicely through 8, and a very, very textbook overtake there. And now Geary finds himself at the behest of losing the podium at the hands of Trav Daly, who is looking to continue to try and move forward. Nick Geary's actually just gone off there, has he? We've watched him on our screen. Went straight off, so he's gone straight on. And there he is, sneaking back on in the background. But that is not good for Nick Geary. So run-off circuit cost him quite a lot of positions, and he just got it all wrong. All on his own there, didn't he? And not really much that he could do. We'll get a replay of that as well, because it was not caught by our broadcast cameras. So this will tell the story from Nick Geary and exactly what transpired. Just gets it a little bit wrong, and instead of going into the wall, decides to go down the escape road. A very nice flick spin though to get it turned around, and was back on circuit in no time at all. He had to wait for the train to go past, so he's lost a handful of positions, but that was actually a very, very tidy flick spin.
Very respectful there from Nick Geary, obviously, and yeah, he tried to not do what Ryan Palmer has done in the past, and Troy Sipple did in this race. So done well to keep it out of the walls there and keep the car going. Now fighting Ashley Hall for 13th place and a few places further back in that Champions Trophy as well.
Absolutely, it's always nice when I share the commentary box with a fellow Ryan Palmer fan, and we all get to just have a little bit of a jab. But he's not here, so he'll probably go back and watch it later and send me a nice message. But it's always great to share the booth with someone who's just a bigger fan of Ryan Palmer as I am. Meanwhile, Nick Geary is trying to put the pressure on Ash Hall, look for a way past. Everyone else finding their own little bit of real estate. Troy Stone Street is doing his best to stick with Jason Bentz. Bentz not able to keep up with Will Buchanan at the moment, who's just on another level this season, really exemplified by the points lead he has. Looks to the inside, Nick Geary showed the nose and thought about it. It's a little bit sideways through the corner, and that has cost him time. Look for Troy Sipple in the background, who's missing his front bar, but well, I don't know whether massive hit on the outside wall for Geary as well as he turned that in. He probably got a bit wider than he expected to and made heavy contact there. I don't think there's any steering damage. We'll go on board to try and have a bit of a look here with the Frog League Juiced racing car to see if there is any major issues, but it looks like it's all right as we come through turn 7 now into 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 8 into 9, and then all the way into, I believe this is turn 10, and then the little flick back just up here is turn 11, and he's putting the pressure on. There's no evidential damage to that car, no steering damage that I can see as of yet, but it will not be ideal at all to have too many run-ins with the concrete barrier.
Won't help his confidence either. Rushing the ball that many times, something is bound to happen. Although he has got to run heading down onto the main straight, he's going to have a look down the inside, and Hall just shuts the door on him. makes him do it the hard way, and so Guri's going to have to settle behind for turns 1 and 2 here, but he's looking to set up the exit and try and get that pass down to the all-important turn 3. He's gotten the run that he wants out of that corner, and he's going to hug the slipstream behind Hall here. No other option but to maybe go down the outside, try the inside, and can't do it on the brakes, and Astley has made Hall go deep into the corner. So very good, I guess. What is that? Just mind games there for Gary, and he's made the mistake happen from who is that there? Ash Hall. And he's actually joined by, I think that's Troy Sipple down at the corner as well. So I'm not sure what's going on with those two.
Something has happened with Troy Sipple. Here we go. This will tell the story. So you got a mechanical black flag. That car is already but look how broken that steering is on the left front, and then just nowhere to go down the escape road, and they've both parked it up. Ash Hall's trying to get it turned around, but Troy Sipple's going nowhere. This could be a safety car if Troy Sipple doesn't get that car moving. I believe he is still stopped. Ash Hall also looks to still be stopped as well. So both these guys in the runoff going absolutely nowhere. Could we see a safety car? This might be the first of the evening. We did say it would be a fairly high chance. Where is Will Buchanan? Here he is. Just started the lap. So if they're going to call one, they'll have to call it soon. Yellow flags will be called by race control, I'm sure, for turn 3 where this incident is taking place. They're still sitting there. They are yet to tow back to pits. They're sitting in that runoff. Absolutely nowhere to go. And Troy Sipple is finally towed.
I've just
Ash
heard
Hall.
Race control. They both now can tow, and I believe that means no safety car. So they are all clear to play. As the battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th looks like they're still ongoing. Jason Benz, Tony Stonestreet, and Jace Douglas, they are all still in that little train for the minor places on the podium, with Abel Verben a couple of seconds behind these guys. So that'll be one to watch as we head into the last 5 laps of this race. And actually, as I say that, Ben's in the wall.
Oh!
Turn 7, it looks like. He's going to lose one spot
Huge
to Stone Street, and Douglas is going to be right on his tail as they head through turn 9 and 10. I think that might have been just a simple lack of focus there for Bence, as he nearly fenced the thing.
Yeah, he almost did. Oh, well, he did fence it with the damage that he's got on that car, but a momentary lapse in concentration for Jason Benson. Not ideal at all. We'll try and get a quick replay of that before it all kicks off here, and Troy Stonestreet's now going to go past and get that move done. But this is what happened to Jason Benson. So the run down to 7, gets on the brakes, very, very deep, turns it in, just not wide enough, a massive hit on the outside wall, and that's definitely broken something in the car. You'd have to think a hit of that magnitude, there's no way you get away with that without some sort of hitting. He's still rolling, but he's lost out to Douglas, he's lost out to Stonestreet. He now sits in 4th, and it's been in the tail of the last few races. Jason Benson, he had a brilliant performance last time out at Sandown, but this season he's just had a couple of hard luck stories just like that, in promising positions, and then a momentary lapse, a small error has thrown him off, put him in the wall, given him damage, and you have to feel sorry for him with that incident. It's so easy to do, and that wall just sticks out ever so slightly, and he's caught it. You can see Abel Verban in the background slowly reeling him in. Josh Harris, Alistair Bales, and Trav Daly also battling for position. That promotes Jace Douglas to the podium, and he is the lead Cup Trophy driver in this race as well. He's got a few positions between himself and Paul Burns, who sits in 6th, and then the man just here in front of Josh Harris, part of this battle pack for 7th, 8th, for 8th, 9th, and 10th is Trav Daly, Josh Harris, and Alistair Bales. Bales keen to find a way past Harris as well, but we do know the Great Wall of Harris will not go down without a fight.
That is very stoic from Josh Harris. I assume he's been very much in the defensive mode for most of the season, and he will be in that same mentality tonight, although he is going to be looking ahead to Travis Daly as well. Gain that spot into 8th if he can. He's a little bit far back on this occasion, and I think that he's more looking in the mirrors at Alistair Bales just behind as they go through 1 and 2 for their 10th circuit around here.
Yep, and there's something made in the comments, a comment made that Will Buchanan is on the correct tyres this evening. That was a throwback to last week at Sandown when he pitted and it was still bone dry, and unfortunately put the wets on, and there you go, you can see on the timing tower just confirming he does have the dry tyre on this evening. So congratulations to Will Buchanan for not putting the wet tyre on, although to be fair, he hasn't put a pit stop in yet, so that is, well, it's a bit hard to put the wrong tyres on when you haven't come into the pits, but again, still, great work. It was a little bit awkward, wasn't it, last week for Will Buchanan, and I don't know, I think we've all been there. The rain was coming, we knew it was coming at Sandown. He had the preset done, he just forgot to change it because the rain didn't get there as quickly as we expected.
Hey, I'd given the most improved this week for starting on the right tyres, so I'll give him that much. And, you know, first place in a race is probably decent enough, as well as Geary going down the inside into turn 7 on DeWitt. He's made the move done, made it a bit hard for himself, but close quarters. He's managed to make his way through up into 12th now. And yeah, looking to move up maybe a bit further. Maybe not possible for this race. 4.5 seconds is Brad Hayes in front. So that might be all he gets from this race. A little bit of a salvage after his incident earlier on in the race at the same corner.
Yeah, so he's down 4 positions, but he has plenty of time in race 2 to continue to move back forward. He has the pace in that car. Those Frog Leap cars, Frog Leap Juice cars, sorry, are always very, very quick. And here's the lone Frog Leap Juice Racing Ford Mustang out there this week. There's no Chevy Camaro, typically driven by Mike Ponton. There's no Phil Manuel either. So Nick Geary flying the flag all on his own this week and doing a fantastic job on the fight back through the field. We are looking at Alistair Bales, who continues to try and put the pressure on Josh Harris, but just hasn't been able to find a way past the, I'm now calling the term, the Great Wall of Harris in that Chevy Camaro. He is making that car as wide as possible, and Alistair Bale's not able to get close enough to try and size up a move, although Josh Harris is getting a bit closer by the second to Trav Daly, so a little bit of lifting for the man in the ADHD man. He's speaking of sole flag flyers, he is the sole flag flyer for ADHD Racing this season at ASR. And he is taking the fight to Daly, maybe just backed off for a little bit to get some temp back in those tyres. We do know how hot those front tyres can get when you're sitting in behind another car and soaking up their dirty air. So maybe just gave a little bit of breathing room to get that temperature down. And with only 2 laps to go as Will Buchanan crosses the line to start the 12th lap of this race, maybe he's thinking now is better. Now is as good a time as any to go and try and get an overtake done. Abel Verban slowly reeling in Jason Bentz here as well. So you have to feel like with the damage that Bentz is carrying, he will be 4th momentarily.
This has been a while coming as well. I know Verban, after Bentz hit the wall, he has been clawing in that gap by a couple of tenths per lap. So it looked like it was a case of when, not if, throughout the rest of this race. And the last 2 laps holds a prime opportunity for Verban to get himself further than 5th into 4th as they work their way through turn 6 onto the back straight, and again the back curve I should say, as they go right and then left up through here, up the gears they go, hugging all the way to the right to try and make this braking zone as straight as they can, bouncing over the curbs at turn 7. These supercars managing to take a lot of bump and grind, and through 8 they go. No real passing over opportunities through here, but I'm sure that Verban will do his best to set a move up for potentially turn 3 or even turn 7 on the last lap of the race, as Buchanan is about to cross the line to start that in just a second, I'm sure.
Yeah, Will Buchanan just crosses the line, and there we go, confirmation from race control. The white flag is out. So for drivers starting their last lap, it is now or never. Troy Stonestreet some 8 seconds behind Will Buchanan. Jace Douglas 1.3 seconds behind him, and will need to lift a massive amount in this last lap if he wants to get a move done. Abel Verban, the closest to anybody on track at the moment, and that man is Jason Bentz that he is chasing through turn 2. The runoff 2 was nice for Verban, but I don't know if it was nice enough. He's not reeling in Jason Bentz at the rate and knots he probably needs to go for a move into turn 3, and as a consequence, we'll just settle in behind. You can see Paul Burns also just lurking in the background. It's a little bit wide there for Benz. He kicked up dust as he ran across the curb on the exit of 3, and Verban still sitting around that 4 tenths away mark. And again, I just don't feel like it's close enough for Verban yet as they run through 6. A good drive off here. He might go for the move into 7, but again, not getting the corner exit he needs, and Ben's just finding a way to drive that car off the corner splendidly at this current stage in time. He's going to throw everything at him, though. It's not over until it's over. That finish line is still about half a lap away for these two. Will Buchanan coming through the last few corners now. We'll stay with this battle as long as we can, but we do not want to miss Will Buchanan coming across the line and winning by almost 9 seconds now. That lead is going out to... We'll come back to this in a moment. Will Buchanan is coming towards the final corner now, down Sunset Drive, and in emphatic fashion, the man that leads the championship takes race one fairly comfortably. 9 seconds over Troy Stone Street, and Jace Douglas finishes in a brilliant third. It's into the wall for Abel Verban on the final lap. He got a bit wriggly on the exit of 13 and through 14 across the line. It will go the way of Jason Betts, but only by 1.3 seconds. So a brilliant effort from Verban to throw everything at that in the closing stages. Alistair Bales will finish P10 just in behind Josh Harris, and then across the line will come Nick Geary. And there he is in 12th place. So a great comeback and a great fight back through the field. Tommy DeWitt, Joe Callahan moves back to 14th as well after that spin we saw on this very camera not too long ago. And we are waiting for Callahan to cross the line as he does finally come across Brett Horsell, the last car to cross the start-finish line. And there he is. So everybody now taking the checkered flag. And it means that we can now recap those results for you for race number one. So it is championship leader Will Buchanan that stands atop the podium at the end of those 13 laps. Troy Stone Street coming home in P number 2 after Jason Bentz found the wall at turn 7 on about lap 8 or 9 there. Jace Douglas came home for a brilliant P3 and the Cup Trophy class win. Jason Bentz in P4 held on just over Abel Verban. There was absolutely nothing in it. 1.3 seconds at the end of the day. Very, very close. Paul Burns comes home for second in the Cup Trophy class and 6th overall. Then Stephen Varga, Trav Daly, 3rd in class and P8 on the road. Josh Harris, Alistair Bales, Brad Hayes, just missing out on the top 10 in 11th place. Then Nick Geary, Tommy DeWitt, Darryl Callahan, Scotty Perrins and Brett Horsell, the last car to finish on the lead lap. And then Troy Sipple and Ash Hall that had that little quantum racing party at the runoff at turn 3 after they both found the wall in unfortunate circumstances, independent of each other, but still ending up in the same place. And in turn, had to tow back to the pit lane, get that damage repaired, and got back out there. Tom, what a race number one that was. Fantastic way to kick off proceedings here tonight, and a great little taster for you as what ASR racing is all about. I'll just get your thoughts on that race and also that little wall rub there from Abel Verban at the end.
Yeah, well, I was watching that little last battle at the end between Verban and Bentz, and they actually both tagged the wall heading onto the main straight, and I think it was just a drag race up to turn 14 and the line, and Bentz just about won out there. But yeah, if this first race is anything to go by, it's going to be an absolute belter in the second one, and I think the amount of carnage that happened through 13 laps in this one, I can't imagine over double the distance how much carnage there's going to be, and you include 2 pit stops into that one, it's going to be absolute chaos and carnage to see who's going to come out on top. Money's still on Will Buchanan, up to the good by 9 seconds in race number 1. But again, if he chooses the wrong tyres, it could be not a challenge for himself to keep the lead, but I'm sure with all dry running, he will have no problem sticking to those dry tyres for the second race. Troy Stone Street in P2 done well to move up that one position after I think he passed, that was Jason Bentz in the wall, yeah, so he was started P2. Troy Stone Street started P3, ended up P2, and yeah, Jace Douglas done well to hold on to P3 as well in the Cup Trophy class as well. And I think, yeah, it's probably about all my takeaways from the race. I guess, yeah, anything can happen, especially off the start line with those that 3-wide incident at the start of the race, I should say. So I am all here for the second race here tonight and for the future as well.
Yeah, I am all in on what's going on here tonight. And yeah, well, Matty Morgan usually is a big fan of the 3 C's, calm, chaos and carnage. Which of the 3 C's will we see? We saw a little bit of calm there for the most part, and then a slight bit of chaos at the end of that race as everybody tried to figure out where they wanted to finish. And carnage always finds a way to come to the forefront at ASR as well. So race 2, we certainly could see a bit of carnage. The drivers are just going through a warm-up session at the moment, a couple minutes left in that. give them a little bit of a break. Some drivers choosing to get out there and set some times and do a little bit more extra practice if they so wish, but for everybody else, they're just taking the chance to stock up on some fluids and have a bit of a reset. And I'm just curious as to what this second race is going to bring. Look, 2 compulsory pit stops. It is something you have to think about. The safety car, if we do get one, we were hoping we would get one in race 1 with that incident down at turn 3, but we never ended up seeing the car come out. So as a result, it just stayed green the entire time. 30 laps, there may be a potential that we do get the safety car to come out. And if you do see a safety car, I would imagine, Tom, that would be probably a prime opportunity for you to go in and tick off one of those compulsory stops. You'd probably be a little bit silly to stay out and not take that opportunity when you had it.
100%. The only time that I wouldn't maybe come in is within the first couple of laps, but even then, you just top up a bit of the fuel, tick off one of those compulsory stops, and you don't need to do 2 under green flag running. So actually, yeah, that completely changed my mind. Then you may as well do 2 or 1 at the start of the race under a safety car and whatnot. So yeah, definitely a very good time in order to take a pit stop. And so yeah, I think going to be a lot more of that carnage. So I'm not holding my breath for the second race and all of that to come in just a moment's time, it looks like.
Yeah, we're not too far away from the completion of the warm-up, and then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they will finish as they started they'll start as they finished in race number 1, but we'll get confirmation of that very shortly. The warm-up session does indeed come to an end. And Matty Morgan, a bit of carnage and maybe heaps of chaos. Well, we never know. With Detroit, certainly can happen, and quietly hoping for a little bit of chaos. Maybe not as much carnage, but chaos certainly. Let's have a look at our grid for race number 2. It is Will Buchanan and Troy Stonestreet that will share the front row if they finish first and second. Jace Douglas and Jason Benz, so the 2 Jaces on row number 2, Abel Verban and Paul Burns, Stephen Varga, Trav Daly, Josh Harris and Alistair Bales as they finished in race number 1. Brad Hayes and Nick Geary. So Nick Geary with a lot of work to do from row number 6 in this one. Tommy DeWitt, Daryl Callahan as well. Scotty Perrins, Brett Horsell, Troy Sipple and Ash Hall at the back of the grid. So the 2 Quantum cars rounding out the back of the grid. Once again, in race control this evening, Tim Nicol and James Hardy hard at work making this all possible. And we thank them 24/7 sim services for all the work that they do to put this together to give us a live race control so that we can indeed go racing. Now, we'll get down to the grid in just a moment. Most drivers are out there and ready to go, so this actually should be a fairly short turnaround before we go green, and the start lights do come up almost straight away. So a very quick turnaround. The revs come alive once again. One more race around the streets of Detroit. The lights are out and we are away, and launched off the line very well is Will Buchanan, who gets a great start. Everybody pointing in the right direction as we run towards turn 1 for the first time. Through 2. It is Buchanan. Oh, we got an incident in the background. I can't quite see. I think we're okay.
A little bit. I think we're all pointing straight, but yeah, I think that just a little bit of contact back in the pack. However, down the front looks all okay for the moment. Jason bends down the inside into turn 3, gets up into P3, and that's a good move for him to claim back the positions he lost from race 1.
Down the order goes Bales and Geary, so there's something happening down at turn 3, and there's cars in the wall, and we cannot quite see exactly what has happened. There we go. That is not where you want to be parked at all. And Geary and Bales, massive contact, lost a number of positions. Tommy DeWitt also looks like he was a part of that, and a massive front part lost there as it falls off. Geary, I think he was just trying to redress that, and he was, because he's pushing on now. So smart from Nick Geary to redress that. We'll go back and have a look at that very shortly when we do get to the conclusion of race number 1. But Jace Douglas, Bence with that straight steering and no damage on that car, has made quick work of getting past him. He does not want to spend a lot of time behind. He needs to try and maximise his pace and catch up to Troy Stonestreet if he can, to jump back up into P number 2. So he runs 3rd so far. Douglas 4th from Verban, Burns, Varga, Josh Harris, Trav Daly and Daryl Callahan up to P number 10 already. He is up 4 spots. Brett Horsell has followed him through up 5, as is Troy Sipple. So big movers in this one. Unfortunately for Alistair Bales and Nick Geary, they have dropped down the order, and we will now go back and have a little bit of a look at exactly what happened here for these guys. Josh Harris looks like he was listed as part of that as well. So let's have a look exactly what happened. Here is Alistair Bales running into turn 2, under brakes, gets a little bit wide. There's Nick Geary sideways. Got it all wrong in the background, massively crossed up. Huge hit and just sort of wedged poor Alistair Bales, who was already running deep into the corner, just wedged him between the wall and just meant that he couldn't go anywhere. Look at him, gets crossed up into the corner. Alistair Bales already locked up, pointing towards the fence, and Nick Geary helps him and then just sandwiches him in there. And that was a very unfortunate incident for both those guys. Had their own little moments on their own and then collectively found each other when they got to the wall at the outside of turn 3.
I think, unfortunately, Geary felt a little bit sorry for squeezing Bales there, and he tried to give up the spot just to give him a little bit of remorse for that. But yeah, just a weird incident. I think a bit too much brake locking there for Geary, and I think even for Bales, both going pretty much straight on and both doing their best impressions of Ryan Palmer at the start of race 2. So we've already had 3 impressions so far. Looks like
it's 4 actually.
Is that 4 actually? Okay.
It's 4.
Ryan Palmer definitely gaining a little bit of traction here in ASR. But back to the action on the screen. I think this is Jason Bentz still holding down the fort in P3, with Troy Stonestreet just in his view in front and Jace Douglas in his mirrors behind.
Yeah, and Stonestreet is really trying to keep Bentz in front, but Bentz is desperate to, as we said, get this P2 early. Brett Horsell is also putting a bit of pressure on Darryl Callahan for the last spot in the 10, which we're keeping one eye on as well. And there he is. Scotty Perrins is, Ash Hall has actually gone off and let a couple of cars go, but also keen to continue his move through the field up 5 places to get into this top 10 here. And he could do it. He has the pace on that Player One race team car, and he could be desperate to get another spot. A top 10 result here for him would be absolutely fantastic if he can pull it off. The onboard cam shows exactly what is happening in the cockpit of the Ford Mustang. Pushing on Josh Harris up to 8th place as well. Not too sure if this man, he doesn't have his camera on this evening. Usually we do get a nice little view of Josh Harris's face as he rolls around, but not this evening. He is just running as a masked man behind a helmet and pushing to keep up with Stephen Varga at the moment, who is also trying to keep up with Paul Burns. So Jace Douglas continues to lead the Trophy Cup class from Paul Burns, and then Trav Daly sitting second in class at the moment with his teammate Darryl Callahan 1.8 seconds behind him. Bentz is starting to lose contact with Troy Stonestreet ever so slightly, and Douglas is staying with him. No further action with car 66 on lap number 1. That's Nick Geary. So that's between him and Darryl Callahan. So that's car 137. And I don't know if we saw that. So we'll have to see if we can figure out exactly what happened there. There's a replay here where they overtook each other. This might tell the story off the start.
This might have been the incident that I saw early on, where there was a couple of cars that were going a bit wayward through turn 1 and 2. Yeah, it looks like it looks like 3 into 1 doesn't go there.
It does not.
I'm not sure what Callahan's part was in that, but I think maybe just forcing the inside a bit too much there could be the instigator for that one. But yeah, it just looked like I think 3 cars into 1 didn't go there.
Well, then he's had contact with Tommy DeWitt, which I believe will be here, maybe? Yeah, just escorted him wide into the wall. So there's that, which he's actually received a 10-second time penalty for as well. So Darryl Callahan is unfortunately still got away with the first one, but did not get away with the second one, and finds himself with a 10-second time penalty for that little just escorting into the wall of Tommy DeWitt. Car 10, car 66, a 10-second time penalty for car 66. That's for contact with Brad Hayes, which would have been in that little opening lap that we saw as well, because Brad Hayes was that car on the outside that got a little bit loose, or turned to the inside of turn 2.
Yeah. Okay, so that's where I've gone wrong. So yeah, Geary's gone into the 59 of Tommy DeWitt earlier on in the race. That's where I was wrong. But yeah, there was still 3 into 1, and Callahan was a part of it as well. So you can see my confusion. But I'm glad they all managed to get out unscathed. And I guess that the perpetrators have been caught in the act, and they have been given penalty as a result of that. So currently, it doesn't mean too much, but come the end of the race, we'll see how 10 seconds affects both Callahan and Geary's results as actually Geary's in the pit lane, so I'm not sure how much further he is going to go unless he's trying to get rid of those compulsory pit stops. As back to the front of the pack, it looks like, I think that's, this is Troy Sipple chasing down Brett Horsell for P11 as Darryl Callahan's gotten past those two as they head down to the back straight again. And I think that Brett Horsell is going to keep his position for maybe another few corners or so.
He certainly is. Abel Verman had a slowdown not too long ago, and that's actually invited Paul Burns to close right up, who was a second away. Matty Morgan in the chat saying, slide sideways, trap the car, ask for $50 to move my car. I think that's a pretty good strategy, actually, if I'm Nick Geary. Just park a car in and say, look, mate, I'll move if you give me $50. That's a pretty good business model, I would imagine. A supercar is a pretty heavy piece of machinery and not something that's going to move too easily. So I would, if I owned a V8 supercar, I'd certainly be doing that. I think that would be, quite the good strategy. So Matty Morgan onto something there in the chat. A business idea for people that are looking to make a bit of fast cash. Just start parking people in with the supercar, especially at the apex of the outside of turn 3 here at Detroit. Very similar corner. I would liken it to that turn 4 at Adelaide with where that outside wall is positioned. Troy Sipple has dived into the lane for what I would imagine is the first of his 2 pit stops. So lap 6 is where we're getting to before they've decided enough is enough and it's time to come in and put some fuel in. It's a little bit of a splash and dash. Nick Geary is sitting in that pit lane for quite a long time, so unless he is repairing damage and doesn't have the luxury of fast repair anymore, I would imagine we may not see too much more of that 66 car out there this evening, unfortunately. Troy Sipple, finding himself at pit exit and back out on circuit ahead of Alistair Bales. As it currently stands, he will be some 22 seconds clear after Bales found himself through the lane as well early on. He was actually in the pits on lap number 1, so nice and early there for him. Paul Burns just dropping off Abel Verban here ever so slightly. Trevor Daly is trying to stay with Josh Harris as well in the background, but everything's just starting to stabilise a little bit, and just everyone's finding their own bit of real estate, getting into a rhythm, making sure that they're managing these tyres across these 3 stints.
Yeah, it looks like a bit of that chaos from the first couple of laps has just subsided. They're all trying to find their groove, trying to find the rhythm, trying to figure out the best way to get around this track without risking your car or any sort of damage. And even the tyres as well, they will go off a little bit throughout the race, and if you can keep them in check for as long as you can, you've got a much better shot at gaining a position or 2 on those ahead of you. And the car we're looking at now in Travis Daly, it's going to have a bit of hot air coming off of Josh Harris's car in the Camaro in front. That's going to be hurting his tyres, but it might be helping his fuel economy just a little bit. I think before the race, I was thinking about fuel limits and what they were going to have to put in fuel-wise. I think about 16 litres is all they need to be able to get to the end of this one. I could be a little bit more, maybe up to about 20 litres of fuel, but tyres is at their discretion, and they will, I'm sure, make use of it as they get into the pit lane for their 2 compulsory stops. We've already seen a few of them come into the pits for their first one so far throughout this race. We are onto lap 7, and we're going to go to a replay here of Nick Geary. I think this might have been the second incident that he had with the wall potentially, and that damage came from, and a bit more rear locking there and straight into the wall, hard in, and that front bumper dislodged itself again. So a really, really tough day for Nick Geary, and I think that has made himself out of the race. I don't think he's going to come back with any more confidence or even any more bumpers for the front of that car.
No, he has unfortunately parked it and called it a day. You can see it on the bottom there. He has withdrawn from the race, so that car probably not probably not able to be repaired in time to get back out there and get classified in this one. So disappointing for Nick Geary, but hopefully we'll see him out there next week. We head back across to Australia, so we've flown all the way to the US for one round, and then we'll go to Bathurst next week for a 300-kilometre enduro. I was a little bit nervous earlier this week because in typical iRacing fashion, for about the 4th time this season, we have seen... sorry, around in the background, Darryl Callahan got a bit sideways and had a half spin. That's going to cost him a handful of positions. He's done very well to keep that out of the wall, but that was a big moment. And I was just starting to trail off into a point about iRacing maintenance and how it's been messing with the drivers and the times we've had so far this season. But Daryl Callahan has had his own little moment there, got very sideways. He's corrected it very quickly and still rolling, but he's dropped outside the top 10. He worked hard for that P10 spot and has now had to literally lost a spot to Brett Horsell. And he was already behind Josh Harris, but he actually wasn't too far behind. He's now going to feel the pressure from Brad Hayes. This is, a very uncharacteristic error from Daryl Callahan, but he's not the only driver this season, this evening, that has found himself sideways. Nick Geary doing that on a number of occasions as Benson Verban dive into the pit lane. So maybe the track surface, a bit of temp in that, and it might be wreaking havoc on some tyres here for drivers.
A little bit. It doesn't look like the track temp has changed much over the sessions, but with, I guess, a fresh start to the race, drivers trying to jostle for position in the first couple of laps, I think maybe burning those tyres a little bit too much, and it looks like Callahan there burning them a lot more than he'd want as he spun those rear tyres and went around, it looked like, through the exit of turn 3. And he's actually gone deep here into turn 3 as well, so it looks like that's his problem spot for the moment, doing a little flick spin to try and get him back on a circuit, and he's actually got a lot of time to get back on there. So done well to keep the time loss to a minimum there, but the kind of mistakes that you get when you're a little bit fatigued, and I'm not sure if the physicalness of this track layout is getting to him already, but he's still got another 20 laps to do if he wants to make it to the end, and I think he won't be able to make a lot more of those errors if he wants to keep that top 10 or get back into that top 10 spot, as he now drops down to P12 and outside the top 10, and he's got 6 seconds to try and catch back up as we go to a replay here on board with him as he rolls down into turn 3, gets on the anchors and just cannot pull the thing up. A lot of relocking as he goes down, but then a very neat little flick spin. Clear track behind him, it looked like, and able to get it on his way, albeit get about 5 seconds lost there. So we'll see if he comes into the pit lane this lap for one of his compulsory stops, maybe get a fresh pair of jeans as well as he jumps in. If he will jump into the pit lane this lap, it looks like he's struggling a bit through this last sector, so I would not be surprised if he goes to the right-hand side of the track here and pulls into the pit lane as he does so. So I think a well-timed pit stop for him, and he'll look to be on his way again with a fresh set of tyres, hopefully, and a bit of newfound confidence with those on as well as Jason Benz goes past the line. He's one of his compulsory pit stops already done, and Roy Buchanan down the back straight has not made a pit stop yet, but has a near 6 second lead over Troy Stonestreet as we are on lap 10 here of this feature race.
Yeah, and we are at the 1/3 race distance mark. Will Buchanan doing a fantastic job, 6 seconds clear. A number of drivers getting that first stop out of the way, so Jason Bentz and Jace Douglas sitting in 8th and 9th are the first two cars that have done that. Ash Hall is yet to stop, and then is splitting Abel Verban, Trav Daly, and so on, who have all stopped in this race. So the top 7 yet to stop, and Ash Hall also one of those cars that are yet to stop. Daryl Callahan and Alistair Bales are having a nice little battle down here for Sheep Stations at the back of the field for 16th place. A little bit wide there for Callahan. He got stuck on the wall. So he went out a little bit wider than I think he probably planned to. Got caught in the wall, couldn't turn the car in, and as a result has lost a lot of time as Stonestreet, Burns and Harris all dive in for their first stop. So everybody getting to the 1/3 race distance mark, trying to split this race evenly in half. Will Buchanan's going to push on and said, I'm not interested in coming anywhere near the pit lane yet, boys. Paul Burns, Josh Harris, Scotty Perrins also dives into the lane. Jason Bentz will push on from the front of the field, and there he is, the first of the cars that have stopped and should come out just behind Troy Stonestreet, about half a tenth actually between him and Stonestreet. So Stonestreet had a quicker stop, but Bentz has got the benefit of the undercut and found clean air, and that has really just gone so well for him because he is all over the back of Stonestreet now. A little bit wide there, kicking up the grass for Bentz, but he's going to try and put the pressure on. Ash Hall is battling meanwhile with Paul Burns, who's just come out of the lane as well, and Paul Burns will pull out in front with those much fresher tyres. But Jason Bentz This is a good opportunity as any to try and find a way past Stone Street before these tyres fully come up to temperature.
Yeah, definitely. Jason Benz maybe just a little bit slower on his outlap or two compared to Stone Street on his in-laps. Although very close here, and he's not going to nearly, thought it was going into the fence again down at turn 7. That seems to be his problem spot. A couple of those around this tight and packed street circuit. And think of it further in the background between Abel Verbin and Ash Hall. It looks like those two are going to get it on in a couple of laps or even a couple of corners even as they run nose to tail through the back end of this circuit, rounding the hairpin at turn 10. Again, the only place where you go into second gear as described on the hot lap. And I think Verbin maybe just giving himself a little bit of breathing room, trying to, I guess, set something up here for potentially turn 3, or maybe waiting for Ash Hall to jump into the pits as he goes into the wall actually on the exit of 13 there. He's going to be vulnerable as they head into 1 and 2, although not going to be any sort of overtaking maneuvers done there anytime soon. But Verbin does have a decent run through turn 1. Turn 2, he's gotten the car very straight. He's going to be looking on the outside heading into turn 3. I wonder how Ash Hall plays this. Wants to keep the spot potentially, and I think he's actually going to let Verbin go there. So very, I guess, classy there from Hall. Maybe not in the same race as Verbin, just trying to keep that time loss to a minimum and maybe even follow Verbin here and try and pick up a couple of pointers throughout the rest of the lap if and when he comes into the pit lane.
Yeah, smart driving from Hall. He doesn't want to try and hold these guys up too much. He knows that battling is only going to hurt his own chances at having a decent result in this race, and with him yet to come into the lane. Will Buchanan has pulled the pin. Said enough is enough. It's time for me to come into the pits. Will Stephen Varga follow him, or will he push on? He was some 16 seconds behind our race leader for this, and does indeed dive in. So Troy Stone Street will come out probably behind Will Buchanan at this stage. I don't imagine that he'll jump out in front. Jason Bentz is not too far off the back of him. So Buchanan, as they come through 12 into 13 and then turn 14. So long Sunset Drive, and then through 14 and across the start-finish line. Will Buchanan already well out of the pits and on his way. Disappeared up the road, and it will be about 5 seconds the gap between Will Buchanan and Stone Street now. So it closed in a little bit from that pit stop, but not a major amount. Jared Cole in the chat as Super Racing Broadcast rethinking his entire subscription model here at Super Racing Broadcast, and wondering if maybe he should start charging KO prices for this stream. Jason Betts, look at him on the grass in the background. He's just every single time I see him go through turn 3, he's running a little bit wider, isn't he? And just using a little bit more of that grass, and it's unsettling the car, and he got stuck on it there a little bit longer than I think he was hoping he would. And as a result, just has cost him more time. Ash Hall now has been overtaken by Josh Harris and Stephen Varga, and now is being very pressured by Trav Daly, who's keen to get past as well. So this is for position in class. Keep in mind, Ash Hall is the only car left on circuit to come into the pit lane. So he has not found his way to the lane yet for either of his 2 compulsory stops. He might make this a little bit harder though for Trav Daly, as he is battling him in class. Keep in mind, once Ash Hall pits, he'll be well behind Trav Daly, but nothing like making your fellow class drivers just a little bit more frustrated by trying to make it hard to get past. He opens the door, looks to the inside at 10 through 11 now. Can't get it done. He looks for the switch back off 11 towards 12. This could be the move for Trav Daly if he can get it set up. Oh, into the wall! Huge impact for Ash Hall. That was a massive hit into the outside concrete wall, and there is a massive amount of damage on that car. Walking wounded, and if he wasn't going to come into the pit lane now, he's certainly got no choice. He needs to dive into the lane to get that car fixed. Fingers crossed he still has the fast repair in hand, but that was a massive impact with the outside wall for Ash Hall. Wow, yeah, just caught out coming into 12. Here we go. This will tell the story. You can see Trav Daly look to the inside. Ash Hall trying to afford him some room. They go under brakes. There's no contact. The rear just steps out on him, locks the inside front, trying to pull it up and spears him into the concrete wall.
saw that happening, and I was wondering how deep he was going to be on the brakes. It looked like it was a bit too deep there, and I think without coming into the pits, he would still have that fast repair. So it looks like that car is all set and ready to go as he actually pulls out of the pit lane, or of his pit box now, I should say. And it looks like he's good to go, albeit he is going to be coming out about 10 seconds ahead of Will Buchanan and a lap down. So he's got about 25 to 30 seconds to make up to the next car on the track. So I think that might be Ash Hall's day done and dusted, unfortunately, and will have to resign himself to what might be just a bit further back in the pack in P17 there, as this battle between second and third still rages on, although Troy Stonestreet managing to pull out a couple of seconds. Yeah, it's opened up a lot since the stop. So Jason Benz's chance at P2 may have gone begging. He might even try and do an ultra undercut for the second stop, but we'll have to wait and see. He's going to be chasing and wagging the tail a bit through the rest of the race. I reckon his best chance would have been as Stonestreet's come out of the pits, but Stonestreet just able to keep that car on the track and able to keep it clean and out of the walls for the 801 Sim Racing team. It's a good result for him, and it will be good if he can keep Jason Benz behind for the rest of the race. As Benz into the outside wall, heading through 6. He's flirting a lot with those walls, and I think that it almost seems like it's due time for him to potentially use a bit more excess than he would like to. But we'll see what happens to him. He did so on the first race down at turn 7, I believe.
Corner just gone. He found himself.
Yeah, exactly. So whether it happens again in the second race, he might have a little bit more confidence and potentially a bit more of a mindset of keeping the car clean, but we'll have to wait and see how he goes. I think at this point he's just trying to push on and catch Stonestreet in front. He's going to use all the track and all of the car that he can and use every single centimetre up to and including the walls, it seems, as he looks to chase down Stonestreet for a P2 in this one after coming off the high of a win in a rain-sodden Sandown last week. He would have liked to have replicated that result here today, but it looks like Will Buchanan just a step too far out in front.
Yeah, Will Buchanan untouchable, and the lap before that, he just set the fastest lap of the race with a 31.015, so he's just doing quick laps for the fun of it at the moment. 32.6 in comparison for Jason Benz, and a 32.2 for Troy Stonestreet. So Troy Stonestreet 1.2 seconds slower per lap, and Jason Benz 1.6 seconds slower per lap. So they are struggling to keep up with the championship leader. Into the lane dives Alistair Bales fairly early for his second pit stop of the evening. So gracing the pit lane with his presence, and his pit crew will be nice and ready for him down there as everybody spreads out. The KO chat rages on in the chat. And look, Vince, I think if you're willing to pay Jared Cole $29 a month for single screen HD streaming, because keep in mind folks, this is being streamed in 4K, and as I say every week, if you're not watching this in 4K, what are you doing? Go and click that little settings button on your YouTube channel, on the little YouTube control panel right now, and change it to 4K, because these cars look absolutely fantastic in Ultra HD 4K.
I'll need to interrupt you.
Whoa, who was that? That was the car that was stopped. Sorry. Ashley Hall
at turn 1 has hit the wall hard, and it looks like he's parked up just on the exit of pit lane. So this could be the safety car that we were all crying for, and we'll have to wait and see what happens here with race control.
Keeping an eye on Tim Nicol. We'll come back to that replay very shortly, is exactly what has happened there. Varga and Harris have dived into the lane. So is Troy Sipple. James Hardy is in the Chubby Buns safety car, which indicates that we are about to go safety car here. We'll just wait for confirmation for Hardy to get moving. And so we'll give that a minute, but he is on the way out, and that is indeed the safety car. So we are now, for the first time this evening, finding ourselves under the control of the Chubby Buns safety car. There it is. You can see it sitting in the lane as it gets ready to come out. This will be everyone's second stop as well, I would imagine. If I'm Will Buchanan, I'm going to come straight into the lane as soon as I get there, get this pit stop out of the way, and just tick that box. Ash Hall, a massive crash for him. Huge incident. Nowhere to go, and I came over the top of you. I think that's what you were trying to interrupt me about, Tom. And then I interrupted myself when I saw the smoke and the car was stopped.
Oh, just there, eh?
That was. He's popped the motor as well for good measure. So not only is that car broken, look at the front left-hand side steering on that. So not only is that car going absolutely nowhere, it is going absolutely nowhere because he's popped the motor. So Will Buchanan's into the lane. This is the onboard for Ash Hall as he turns it in. So here's towards turn 1. Turns the car in just a little, just doesn't turn, does it? There was absolutely, he had it almost pointed straight to the right there, and it just did not rotate at all. Did not even think about making that corner at turn 1.
And the thing that made that a bit more interesting is that Will Buchanan was coming through, and it looked like Ash Hall trying to get towards the pit lane, nearly crashed into him. So it could have been all over Red Rover for Will Buchanan, but manages to squeak out of there in his hole. And he's come out of the pit lane now with his 2 compulsory pit stops done and dusted, as will everyone else in this race, I'm sure. And it looks like that 9-second lead that Buchanan had over Stone Street is now been reduced to nothing.
I was just wondering what was going on for Alistair Bales, and I think he was caught out by the safety car. He didn't want to overtake safety car, and he has not done that, which is good news. But James Hardy, so there you can see Alistair Bales in 16th place, despite not being the leader, has to sit in behind the Chubby Buns safety car. See there, the 666 car of James Hardy, the man that won the Cup Trophy Class Championship last season. His promotion is safety car driver. He gets to drive the very, very lovely GT3 Porsche that is presented by Chubby Buns. Chubby Buns Burger is obviously a great supporter of the series, and I used to have a sponsor readout somewhere for these guys, but it's gone amiss in my documents, so I will endeavour to find that at some point later on in the season when we have the safety car again. I'll give them their proper sponsor readout. But they do have, I am aware, a number of locations across New South Wales, and they are expanding, working to expand Australia-wide. I am positive. Fantastic food. I have been there. They do some delicious burgers, some great fries. So if you are in New South Wales, look up, get on their website, look up their, well, the nearest to you. If you're in Sydney, there's plenty around for you to go and visit and try out some of their delicious burgers. They are a great sponsor of the series. Came on a few seasons ago and have sponsored the safety car ever since. And we thank them for their fantastic support, along with all of our sponsors, Quantum Tint Solutions, Gard, St. Cobain, and Team Nicol Photography. They do a great job to support this series and really just make this racing possible for everyone here that is driving and competing, for us in the commentary box, and for everybody watching along this evening as well. The sponsors go a long way into making all of this happen, so we thank them for their support. 18 laps down. We're about to cross the line to start lap number 19. Under the control, the first time this evening under the control of the safety car. If you're just joining us, Ash Hall found his way into the wall, and just one more time for good measure, I think we'll have a look at exactly what happened there for Paul Ash Hall as we go on board with him. And just watch this, watch his steering wheel here, folks, as he turns it into turn 1. Gets there on the brakes, turning, nothing, has to steer to the outside on correction, and then ready, wait for it. There is, just squeaking through, Will Buchanan by the skin of his teeth. He made that through at turn 1. That was, if we get the chopper cam up, that might also give us, well, that's the chopper cam for this, but the chopper cam at turn 1 on the replay might actually show us just how close it was for Will Buchanan, and just some of the behaviour and the body language of this car. So we're behind Ash Hall, watching him go through at turn 1, turns it in just on the slide, no correction, steers to the outside, front bar comes straight off. Here's Will Buchanan,
About as close as he's going to get to a car there.
Will Buchanan in that pit stop, I'm sure, not only did he change tyres, he probably changed underwear.
I would have no doubt about that, as it looks like Alistair Bales has been let past the safety car. I think I heard this was going to be the last lap of the safety car, so I believe that we are going to get a restart at the end of this one with Will Buchanan heading the field. And I just want to touch back on the safety car. A very good livery, it has to be said, and it is something that I would probably endeavour for my own cars if they ever made a livery for some of the GT3 cars potentially. But yeah, the rest of the field all sitting behind the pace car. I might just go through the order for you. So Will Buchanan currently sitting atop the pile. Troy Stonestreet currently sits P2 ahead of Jason Benz. That is your top three in this race currently. Jace Douglas leading the Cup Trophy in P4. Paul Burns second in class, P5 on track, and he's going to be looking to Jace Douglas to fight for that win in the Cup Trophy as well. Stephen Varga in P6, Abel Verben P7, Travis Daly P8, Josh Harris P9, and Troy Sipple, after a very intense and I guess chaotic race one for him, has managed to find himself into the top 10 after everything is shaken out here, and with a fresh pair of boots as well, along with everyone else in the field. So he's in a great spot to keep that P10 as well. And I think that as we head through turn 7, a problem area for a couple of drivers tonight, I think we're going to have a bit more action down there throughout the last 10 laps as we get a little bit of a stack up back in the pack, but they are all okay. And I'm not sure. I believe they should be coming off the safety cars shortly, if I'm not mistaken.
We'll await confirmation of race control and for James Hardy to pull away, but we should go green this time by. The good news for everyone here that isn't Will Buchanan is we get a little bit of a reset now, so everyone closes back in as the safety car is pulled away and we are going green this time by. So the safety car is in, we get a restart. Everybody gets a bit of a reset now. The gaps are restored. Everyone was spread out, but they close back in for a 10-lap sprint to the finish. It'll be elbows out, everybody vying for a spot on the podium, and indeed an overall result. Will Buchanan controlling the field, waiting, and now finds the go pedal. So we are away. We have a restart here at Detroit, the first and only hopefully restart of the evening, but you never know what could happen as we run into turn 1. He is well clear of everybody behind him. And, well, actually, it's Troy Stonestreet feeling the pressure already from Jason Benz, who's trying to capitalise on this restart. Look for Jace Douglas in the background to feature as well. But Jace and Benz not close enough at turn 3 to think about a move. In the background, a couple of guys looking to think about a move as well. Ash Hall still in the pit lane trying to repair that damage. A fairly clean and controlled restart, all things considered, but it is Buchanan from Stonestreet, from Benz, from Douglas. These four not pulling away yet, but Buchanan would have been hoping to capitalise on that restart and just disappear, but he has not been able to at the moment. Stonestreet has his sights set on Buchanan for the first time since lap 1 in this race, and he will not want to let him go easily.
This is basically back to lap 1. They're all square, all on fresh tyres, probably all about the same level of fuel as well, and they've got a very good chance, anyone in the top 4 or 5, to take over the lead of this race if they can find the pace to match Will Buchanan. Heading through turn 9, it looks like he's just stretching those legs ever so slightly as Jason Benz and Troy Stonestreet are basically kicking each other up the road to try and chase down Will Buchanan. I'm sure Benz would want to have a chance at Stonestreet if he can, heading somewhere through the next couple of laps, try and make use of those fresh tyres. He hits the wall on the outside of turn 13. It's a big hit to the wall. He's not going to lose much time, but that front left corner of the car is going to be a little bit worse for wear as he goes past the timing tower there. It looks like, yeah, that front left bumper just a little bit worse off than he was just a few corners ago. On the right-hand side, may as well make it look equal. He's hit the wall on the outside of turn 2 as well. So it looks like it's almost all square to what he was at the end of race 1. And Jace Douglas trying to go down the inside into turn 3. Not going to get anything done this time by, but Jason Benz is definitely feeling the pressure as he tries for a top 2 result here. He's still got a good result being on the podium, but he is obviously wanting to recreate what happened last week at Sandown. And I think him getting past Stonestreet in the next few corners is going to be his best chance at getting a win in this race. He slides it heading out of turn 6 onto the back straight.
What I'm looking at here as well, Jace Douglas, he'll be desperate to put a car between himself and Paul Burns if he can. They are pulling away this front group from Paul Burns in 5th place, but that is a class position battle. So if Douglas gets caught up a little bit too long behind Jason Benz here, that will invite Burns into the party and potentially could lose out on a class victory here tonight for Douglas, who was so strong in race number 1, finished on the podium. He will want to try and replicate that in race 2, but he will certainly want to do everything he can to hold on over Burns, and putting a car between himself and his class team, or his class rival, will certainly go a long way to protecting that. In the background, Abel Verban putting the pressure on Stephen Varga as well. So this is for 6th and 7th on the road, just under 2 tenths between them. Will Buchanan out to a second now, clear of Troy Stonestreet, who is a little bit clearer of Jason Bence as well, just under a tenth or 1 second, I should say 7/10 of a second, as Douglas looks to the inside, potentially thinks about a move, not close enough on this occasion though to get anything done. In the background, Varga and Verban, not close enough as well on this occasion. Josh Harris is feeling the pressure from Troy Sipple as well in P10. And this is a great run from Sips. He's up 7 spots into the 10. This would be, and I'm sure viewers will correct me if I'm wrong, but close to probably his best result of the season so far, being inside the 10. He's had a bit of a difficult run on occasion as the Quantum Racing 4 Mustang driver. So a finish in the 10 would be fantastic for his season, and a nice little kicker heading into Bathurst and Adelaide in the next 2 weeks. But Jace Douglas will continue to put pressure on at the front. It's lap 22 of 30. We are getting towards the pointy, and the safety car has closed things in a little bit. Everyone's starting to spread out again though, so you can see some distinct little pace groups forming. Will Buchanan in a class of his own as he pulls away, and then Stone Street, Bence, Douglas and Burns all together, and then it's Varga, Verban, and then Daly a little bit on his own there, isolated. Then it's Harris, Sipple, Horsell, Hayes, DeWitt, Callahan, Perrins, and then that's 16 seconds back to Alistair Bale. So this little group runs all the way to pretty much the back of the pack.
I reckon that Jace Douglas is going to want a podium spot again here in race 2. He's very close to the back of Jason Bence, and an extra couple of points would be handy in that Cup Trophy Championship battle, as he's right up at the back of the the Mustang in front. He looks down to the inside again, but he can't do it once more. Still just biding his time a little bit maybe, and seeing that I guess Bence hitting the wall a couple of times, he probably knows that he's struggling in front.
Josh Harris, something's happened to Josh Harris.
What happened to Josh Harris in the background?
Sorry to cut you off there. Josh Harris has gone straight onto the escape road at 3, so unfortunately for our main man Josh, he has found himself down the escape road, and not ideal at all for a man who is well inside the top 10 and poised to have a great result here. The chopper cam of the stories will run down towards turn 3 and just a little bit wide, and instead of doing his best impression of his teammate Ryan Palmer, decides to flick it to the left, go straight on, turns the car around, and by that point everybody's gone past, so he gets a clear run out back onto the front straight. And look, not ideal at all, but the best of a bad scenario for Josh Harris. That car is still very much straight and pointing in the right direction. He's just 15th and well behind everybody else that he was battling with. Now, Jeremy Washington in the chat, I am not going to even bring attention to that joke. That's how bad it is. I'm just going to leave that where it is, and that is all that we'll say. Jace Douglas putting the pressure on Bence and hoping that he can get past very, very soon. Just for you, Jeremy Washington, we will do a little bit of a research project right now, and that steering is incredibly straight and not looking like it's going anywhere at all. So no problems for Jason Bence after that wall hit, which is good news. The body panels on the front of the car looking a little bit secondhand though, and that will not be helping the rotation through the corners, especially some of these high-speed corners for Jason Bence at the moment. And he's feeling the pressure. Paul Burns still a part of this as well. Troy Stone Street trying to skip away. He's got 2 seconds to Will Buchanan up the road, but a second back to these guys. So a little bit of breathing room.
And just going back to Josh Harris for a second, I wonder who's going to be more famous after this race, whether it's going to be Ryan Palmer and all of the attributions that we've given him, or Josh Harris. I don't know if it's going to be too much of the former, as Jace Douglas goes nearly the wall down to turn 7. He was very deep on the brakes, but he's going to be vulnerable here to Paul Burns as they head through the midsection of the track. I just caught that out of the corner of my eye. Douglas going very deep. I don't even think he was trying to make a move. I think he was just put the brakes on and just hasn't found the same grip that he normally has. Maybe a couple extra kilometers down the back straight there, and it looks like he's lost all that ground he'd made up to Jason Bence, and he's now going to find another 8/10 to catch back up. And with only 6 left to go as they cross the line, it's going to be a very tall order for him, especially with him now trying to defend from Paul Burns behind. And I think the next closest battle behind looks to be Abel Verban and Stephen Varga, who are battling out for P6 as they go through turn 2. Varga getting a pretty good exit out of there, and I don't think there's going to be any competition heading down into turn 3 once again.
Not at the moment, but you never say never. Looking at in the background as well, Daryl Callahan and Tommy DeWitt are having a nice little battle at the back end of the pack for 12th place, or for sheep stations as they are more effectively known in motorsport. Oh, a little bit loose there from Callahan again. That's the second time he's done that at this corner. A little bit less dramatic this time. Corrected it a much quicker and a slightly smaller slide, but still not what he would have wanted at all. And that's going to leave him vulnerable to Scotty Perrins in the background as well. So this hard work for Daryl Callahan continues to be that hard work. Paul Burns close to the back of Jace Douglas once again, putting the pressure on. He was within about a tenth and a half there for a moment, but it's dropped off as they run through turns 8, 9, and now into 10. And then back to the right-hander for 11 to enter the final part of the circuit. Now spreading out ever so slightly. Abel Verman sticking with Stephen Varga in the background. You can see Trav Daly licking his chops, I think, at the idea of these two battling, maybe holding each other up a little bit, and him being able to insert himself into this battle. He sits third in class at the moment, but he'd love an even stronger finish in the overall results if he can manage it. And if these two keep going, that certainly could be a possibility. Troy Sipple sits in P9 from Brett Horsell, who's just behind him, position number 10, who was 3/10 quicker on the last lap. So finding some pace at the moment is Brett Horsell, who's up 6 spots. So these two are the biggest movers in this race as well. Everyone only up 1 or 2 spots if they have moved forward. These guys up 8 and 6 spots respectively for Sips and Horsell. So both doing a fantastic job moving through this field.
Absolutely, and Brad Hayes in the background just trying to capitalise on this battle in front as well. Horsell just getting a little bit wide through a couple of these corners at the start of the lap. He's a bit wide of the apex there at 5 and nearly into the wall on the outside there. Let's see how they go through turn 6. Looks like he's a pretty good run through there, and Brad Hayes not able to do anything on this occasion, but he would know at least a little bit about how the car in front is reacting, how it's going over the bumps, whether or not he's taking the right lines, or better lines, I should say, through any corners. And as he goes through turn 7 and turn 8, he will still be looking ahead and even seeing potentially for Troy Sipple as to whether or not he's going to have a chance at either of those cars in front. And with less than 5 laps to go, you've had to guess to say that he's probably going to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at this. Maybe try not to get to throw everything at it to remove the result that he currently has. But I think you'd give it a good shot as up front ahead, Stephen Varga and Abel Verman getting nearly side by side through turn 14 there. They head through 1 and 2 back in line. And I think that Stephen Varga just getting a good enough exit through the first couple of corners that Verban's not able to do anything as they run down to turn 3. Again, Verban about 3/10 behind and a few more carlings than he would like. So no chance for him down to turn 3. His only option, it seems, might be into turn 7. So we'll stick with this battle as they head through 4, 5 and 6. And we'll see how they get on. Running over the bumps and all the curbs. This track, again, very physically demanding. Got to be very focused to keep the car in the middle of the track and away from the walls as much as you can, whilst extracting all the pace out of the cars. And Verban, whilst he's a little bit closer, not close enough to go for a move here into 7. Going to have to try and force a mistake out of Stephen Varga if he wants this spot in at the top 6. And yeah, they get very loose and very out of control, heading over all the bumps.
He's very strong under brakes, Abel Vernon. I'm just watching him here as this battle rages on, and he's look at how much he closes up under brakes, but Varga able to capitalise on the exits as a result. So Verban's maximising his corner entry speed, but that compromises your corner exit speed as a result. It's sort of an ebb and flow effect, whereas Varga's sort of sitting in the middle of a bit of both at the moment. He's also positioning that car when Verban does get close, just in the right spot to make it difficult. Verban has to either commit to the very, very inside or has to go the long way around. So Stephen Varga, he's been here and done that quite a number of times over the years, very experienced behind the wheel of one of these cars, and he knows exactly how to make it difficult to pass, and that is quite literally what he is doing at the moment as they run in through turn 3. So Abel Verban, look, he's doing everything he can to try and find a way past, but Varga is making this incredibly difficult for him. Callahan and DeWitt are still battling as well through turn 3. We're on lap 28, not too far away from the end. 4.2 seconds is the gap between Buchanan and Stone Street, who was well clear. Bent's now 1.8 seconds clear of Jace Douglas. And there he is, Jace Benson. This is Jason Douglas, or Jace Douglas, sorry, who is, well, still feeling a little bit of pressure from Paul Benz. Not too much pressure, though, at the moment as they run through, this is turn 8 into 9 now, and then through turn 10, and then the switch back into turn 11. It's spreading out ever so slightly as Buchanan comes towards the line to start lap 29. So we are running out of time. If there is a move left in the tank for Paul Burns, it has to be sooner rather than later for the win in the Cup Trophy class, if he can manage it. Abel Verbam he's running out of time to get something done on Stephen Varga as well. He's very strong in this last sector, but then Vargas is able to just set himself up off 1 and 2 to defend into 3. So he needs to find Abel Verben a way to just have that little extra something off 1 and 2. You can see how close he gets through the final sector, how much he closes in at 1, but then not able to close in enough at 2. He does hold the curve on the inside, but it just looks like a bit of a nicer drive off of 2 for Varga again this time around, and it still won't be close enough to make anything happen on this occasion. Not too far away from the end of this one, with Callahan and DeWitt still yet to settle their score as well.
Still a couple of battles to play out here, but out in front, it's been the Will Buchanan show, leading basically every single lap in this race and even in the sprint race. He's been virtually untouched throughout it, and props to him for keeping his calm, keeping his composure, and being out the front for so long. And Verben actually has a better run through turn 6 this time, but still not close enough to get past Varga. It's going to have to be a last lap dive if he's going to get anything done. And I don't know if he's going to have the stopping power to do so. He is good on that corner entry. He just needs to get the run out of the corners. So he needs to try and set something up for that turn 7. Turn 3 is almost a no-go zone for him with the way that Varga gets through the first chicane in the lap. Again, I don't think there's going to be much ahead either between Douglas and Burns. That gap now extending to about a second in front. So looks like Varga and Verben are going to be the two duking it out on the last lap here as I head through turn 13, coming on to the main straight, or the last corner, I guess, onto the main straight. As I head through across the timing lane, they go for the white flag lap. And Verben will see if he can do anything into turn 3. Very, very close here through the midsection of 1 and 2. But again, Varga just has that little bit extra exit speed, and he gets a lot more traction down, and Verben can do nothing about it. Down into turn 3, has to reside still in P7. Going to try, and I'm sure he's going to flow through here as best he can and try and set up the exit of 6 for a move into 7. He's going to, I guess dive it is the only option he has if he wants to get this position. How badly he wants it though is the question. Down through 6, almost trying to get into the back of Varga to potentially do a little bit of a cheeky bump and run. Down the back straight they go, and Varga again pulling the legs, extending a little bit too much for Verben to catch up to, and I think that may be all she wrote for Verben here, unless Varga makes a mistake at turn 7. It looks like that's going to be it between that battle, but Will Buchanan has gone through turn 11. He's coming down to turn 12 for the last time in this race, and he is going to be absolutely flawless through the last couple of corners as he's now coming out through turn 13, comes past the pit lane and comes to greet all the fans waiting for him at the line to take the victory here in race 2 of the ASR Supercars series. Troy Stone Street will come across the line for P2, and Jason Benz will come across for a well-deserved podium for him after a slightly disappointing first race where Jace Douglas came for the podium, and he will get the Cup Trophy win here, P4 overall in race 2. Very well fought off Paul Burns for P5, and then Stephen Varga and Abel Verben 6th and 7th for those two. Travis Daly P3 in class and P8 on track. Troy Sipple did an amazing job to come from the back of the field in to P9, and Brett Horsell will be the last car in the top 10, just ahead of Brad Hayes. Tommy DeWitt in P12. Him and Darryl Callahan had a great battle towards the end there as well, ahead of Scott Perrins, who joined in late. Josh Harris with a very unfortunate mistake through the back end of that one, and Alistair Bales was nearly a lap down at the safety car, but has come across the line in P16. That is the finishers here tonight. Will Buchanan doing his best impression of a donut or burnouts on the back straight.
Certainly is trying, isn't he? And we'll get some replays of that up, I'm sure, when we talk to him later on. But our final results. So Will Buchanan, you have to feel like he has one hand on the trophy now in this one, with two emphatic victories here tonight in Detroit. Just absolutely classed the field. Troy Stonestreet 6.3 seconds behind. After that late race safety car, Jason Bentz comes home in position number 3, and probably what he was hoping would be is, well, the best of the worst situation for that car this evening, with just not the pace quite being there where he wanted, I'm sure. Jace Douglas comes home in P4, and that's 2 victories in the Cup Trophy class for him tonight. A fantastic result. Paul Burns couldn't take the challenge to him in the end, finishes 1.2 seconds behind. Stephen Varga comes home, holds on over a very fast charging Abel Verban, who threw everything at him and held him off in the end, Varga. So great drive for Stephen. Come home in 6th, Verban 7th. Travis Daly in 8th. Troy Sipple, best result of the season before this was a P12 in race 2 at the Bend in round 5. So this is well and truly eclipsed that. He's into the top 10 for the first time this season, and a fantastic result for Sips. I'm sure he'll be stoked with that. To come home in position number 9. So well done to him. Brett Horsell also a great drive back into the top 10 and finished 6 seconds up from where, or 6 positions, up from where he started. Brad Hayes finishes where he started in P11, and that's probably the best, or pretty well done for him as well, considering how much was happening in that race around him. Tommy DeWitt comes home in P12. Daryl Callahan, Scotty Perrins, Josh Harris, and Alistair Bales. And then Ash Hall and Nick Geary unfortunately not making the end with various issues with their cars, and were not able to get back out there. Well, it's now time to have a nice little chat to some drivers. So let's get them into the booth and see what they have to say for themselves, shall we? And starting off this evening, we will have a chat we'll have a look at who's waiting around to talk to us. We'll go with the man that is here and ready, Troy Stonestreet. We'll drag him in. The man that finished 2nd place this evening. Troy, very good evening to you, mate. A pleasure to have you in the booth. First of all, congratulations. 2 good results for you this evening, and you have to feel like, with Will Buchanan being as fast as he is, it's sort of the best of the rest, and Will Buchanan's just sort of in a league of his own, maybe a bit of alien speed, isn't he?
Yeah, I think we're going to get rid of that young fella, haven't we? Too quick. No, he is. He's flying. He's come a long way in a quick time. Will, he's doing really well in all series he's racing in at the moment. Good on him. Going good.
Yeah, he's looking fantastic. But let's talk about you, mate. You had 2 really good P2s tonight. How was the car feeling around Detroit? It looked a bit tricky. A couple guys struggling with rear tyre grip and the back end stepping out of them. What was the Auto 1 Sim Racing Rocket like?
Pretty good the second stint. The second race. The first race I kind of didn't find much rhythm and was probably overdriving the car a bit. Always nervous with Jason behind, because he's very quick and likes to race hard. So, but yeah, that second stint, I think I was kind of pretty lucky, because I went tight on fuel, because I knew that they had a bit of advantage from the first stop pit times, and that last stint felt good. I was just driving the car a bit smoother and concentrating on making sure I had enough fuel to the end, and I think it actually, probably that exactly settled the rear tyres down a bit, and it was good. I actually didn't even realise. I think last night I jumped into a practice server and I thought that ASR had stuffed up, because I was expected to be at Adelaide, and I said to Scotty Perrins, "Is this right?" And he goes, "Yeah, they've changed it around or whatever." But so yeah, it was good. I don't mind this track. It's good fun to race. Never much overtaking opportunity, but it's always heart in the mouth pretty much the full lap round.
Yeah, well, it certainly felt like it for a couple instances we saw out there this evening. Listen, we've got 2 rounds left in this championship. You're in a pretty good position to try and fight for not really the championship victory. I think Will Buchanan's pretty much got one hand on the trophy here with the performances he's put in this season. But you have got your hat in the ring to have a really good result nonetheless. How are you feeling heading to Bathurst? Obviously the 300k enduro next week, and then the 200k enduro at Adelaide the week after.
Yeah, well, Bathurst is always it's it's Bathurst is always everyone's favourite, I guess. But what comes with that is lots of guys seem to grow an extra leg at Bathurst and find pace that sometimes they don't have on other tracks. Just one of them tracks where everyone's pretty quick because they've done a million laps around there. But yeah, no, looking forward to long. Is it 300k? Is it so a long one?
Long race. Long race.
Yeah, no, that's always fun around there. We'll just have to keep the nose clean and be in it. Hopefully, be in it towards the end, and yeah, try and run Will down, or hopefully runs out of petrol or something's about our only chance of beating him. But someone could drain his tank. That'd be you guys would be happy with that. Not that I'm condoning it. No, but you never know around there. It's as we know, anything can happen, and just enjoying racing at the moment and not really worrying about results. Just having fun and turning up every week and enjoying it. So it's good.
Yeah, well, it's been a pleasure to chat to you, mate. Before we let you go, anyone you want to give a shout out to? Obviously, the floor is yours as per usual.
Just obviously you guys and the admin at ASR do a good job. All the other drives, it's always it's a good fun, easy going league. There's not too much egos or rough and tumble out there. Everyone's just kind of out to enjoy themselves, and so yeah, all the other drivers, admin, broadcast guys, thanks to you guys for what you do, and just all the boys at 801, especially Burnsy and also Tommy DeWitt, we're in Discord together and enjoying ourselves. So yeah, thank you.
No, it was absolute pleasure, mate. Pleasure to chat to you, and hopefully next week we'll get to chat to you at the Mountain and Adelaide as well. Looking forward to it.
Hopefully, look forward to it. Thanks, guys.
Troy Stone Street there, P2 this evening in both races, so a pretty good result all round for him. We'll have a chat now to our race winner for both races this evening, and a man that is in fine form in these supercars at the moment. It is Will Buchanan. Will, welcome into the booth, mate. Congratulations. You were pretty much, I want to say, untouchable out there this evening. You were very, very quick.
Hey, guys. Yeah. This track gets used a lot in other leagues and all that, so I had plenty of practice. I think a lot of people can just fit in the same boat there, but no, the car felt on rails, and yeah, it was just some good speed.
Certainly looked on rails. I feel bad. We didn't give you a lot of screen time. You were so far in front that we every time we cut to the battle for second or third, we were like, "Where's Will? Oh, he's gone up the road." But look, how much fun was it getting around here? Obviously, we spent most of the season at the Australian tracks. We started the season at Mexico, and then we've been in Australia ever since. So this is the second time we've gone international. Did you enjoy the the change to mix it up a little bit before we head back to Bathurst and Adelaide at the end of the season?
I mean, yeah, anything other than Australian tracks is always a good mix-up. But yeah, Detroit gets used a lot. It's a good supercars track, I guess. So yeah, no complaints about it. It was a fun night. Yeah, I like the track a lot. So yeah, no complaints at all.
Yeah, and how are you feeling heading into these last two rounds? Obviously, the 300k enduro next week, that'll be a long one, that's for sure. And then the 200k enduro at Adelaide. Look, really, realistically, one hand on the trophy with the performances you put in so far this season and how stellar you have been. Are you looking forward to these tracks? Obviously, I know Bathurst is a fan favourite, and ever since it's come to iRacing, Adelaide has been too. But obviously, your thoughts on how you're feeling for these last two?
Yeah, I mean, Bathurst will be fun. Did the Pro Series race on Sunday there with James, and we got a good result. So won't have to practice too much. Just more trying to learn the setups for this one. But I do have a bad history of popping engines down the chase, so we'll see how we go.
Well, hopefully not. We don't want to see anybody popping engines, so fingers crossed we won't see any blind engines from you down the chase. Before we let you go, mate, obviously the floor is yours. Shout outs and thank yous and all that.
Yeah, just shout out to the team at RER for all their support, and then to all our sponsors, AITX, Shield Coat, Sudspeed, Kibby, IR Sidekick, Chelsea Clean, and Slady's Glossworks. All the support they give us behind the scenes is incredible, and we couldn't do it without them.
Fantastic, mate. Well, I'm sure they all appreciate the thank you, and we appreciate you taking the time to come and have a chat to us after a very strong evening of racing for you, mate. Congratulations. Enjoy this one, and I'm sure we'll probably get to chat to you next weekend. We'll see you out on track, that's for sure, and in Adelaide.
Cheers, guys. Take care.
We'll be coming there. Race winner for both races this evening, and unfortunately, Jason Bence, we won't get the chance to chat to. He's had some hardware issues with his PC, and it's decided it's want to go to sleep. So it's clocked off early. It's decided it's had enough of Detroit for one evening, and has decided to pack it in. And honestly, that's fair enough. It's not a terrible evening for Bence, but it's been a difficult evening. The track was not really coming to him, I'm sure, the way he would have thought. But Tom, your first time in the booth here at ASR, and your thoughts on what you witnessed tonight, and just how you felt about the racing that we saw out on track.
Well, it was very enjoyable to watch, I'll tell you that much. I think the action up and down the field, even with the cannon going all the way out front there, still, this is a perfect track to come to if you want to have a first race at the track, because there's always going to be carnage and chaos somewhere along the field. And I think that if this is what has happened throughout the rest of the season, I cannot wait for a 300k enduro next week, and then 200k to Adelaide the week after. It's going to be absolutely amazing for everyone watching, and I'm going to love it commentating as well. It's going to be nothing short of superb. I am absolutely sure of that.
Well, looking forward to having you back in the booth hopefully next week and moving forward. But it was fantastic to have your company. Another great night of racing here at Alliance Sim Racing Solgard St. Cobain Supercar Championship. We have 2 more rounds in this championship, a 300k enduro at Bathurst next week, as we mentioned, and 200ks at Adelaide the week after to sum off this season. If you're still looking to get your racing fix for the week, make sure to tune in tomorrow night to the Simple Racing broadcast channel, where, well, it's the Easy Motorcycle Spares GT3 Championship for MC Motorsport, and they head to Le Mans, a very classic endurance racing venue, and I'm sure there will be plenty of action at that. And then on Friday night, the Legacy Australia Racing Championship heads to Circuit of the Americas for the NASCAR layout. A lack of track limits, I think, will be the theme of the evening as the VF Commodores and the FG Falcons take on that circuit. So looking forward to that as well. Until then, stay safe and look after each other. We thank you very much for your company this evening, and from everyone here at Simple Racing Broadcasts, Thomas in the booth with you, myself, Isaac Fogarty. We thank you very much for your company this evening, and we look forward to the next time that you do join us. But for now, it is goodbye.